Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I will show you how to send multiple show commands and how to get their outputs from a networking device. If you have multiple networking devices and multiple commands which you have to issue, traditionally what we're doing was we're manually just accessing every single device individually, typing those show commands and copying their output and pasting it to some txt file. So it is extremely time consuming, it is very prone to human errors, and imagine you made a mistake accidentally, now you have to start over again. So basically it's annoying and irritating task, right? So I will show you how to write a script which uses Python Netmiko library for network automation in order to alleviate this problem. So let's get started, right? I have already created a Python file, as you can see. I have imported modules necessary for Netmiko activation. And in the second line, I have modules to handle exceptions and errors. And then I created an IP variable, which basically prompts me to input IP address, right? It can be your management IP address or loopback, whatever you used to interact with the device, right? So I will just input this particular IP address, and then I have device object for Netmiko in order to access the device itself with its information like the platform, IP address, and so on, so forth, so on. So I'm going to use Cisco IOS XR device. It is a real device, which means it's up and running. And I'm going to use real device so that I can show you what happens when you have long output, right? And then I have command list. And command list consists of 3 commands: show platform, show inventory, and show version, and SSH variable, which basically says how Netmiko will connect to a device, right? It's just a variable name, it doesn't mean anything. I put SSH just because Netmiko uses SSH protocol as a transport method underway, right? So that's it. Now let's actually dive into the logic, and I will write a script which will basically go to each device, issue these commands indicated on the list, and save their output directly to a txt file so that we don't have to worry about the second part of the problem, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a for loop. I will say for each command in command list, meaning this variable will store information from this list, this command list, so it can have 3 values: platform, inventory, and version. Basically, I will just to be aware of the process which runs behind the scenes, I will just create a let's say monitoring kind of stuff. So I would just say right now I'm sending command. Which command? I want to see which command I'm sending right now at this particular moment, and I am just going to issue command variable right over here so that I can see what's going to happen, which command is being sent. And then I will just use try except blocks to handle exceptions and errors. I'm going to say try, and so I'm going to store the output of show command, any show command, in a variable called output. So let's write our variable name, and I'm just basically going to say SSH, and I'm going to use send command function of Netmiko, which basically sends commands into routers or switches, whatever device you have, into its privileged execution mode, like we are doing manually. This is pretty much the same thing, right? But in an automated fashion. So I'm going to indicate command itself because it will just put the value of command from this list. So as a first element, it's going to be show platform. It's basically will just put this show platform over here, right? and will store its output of show platform command in this variable. Now I'm going to write this output variable directly into the text file, right? So for that, I'm going to use with statement, which is extremely easy and efficient to use. So I'm going to say with open. I'm going to create a file, let's say output .txt, pretty simple. And I'm going to add an A option. So A basically means append. We'll have a txt file and it will append each output for that file, for that particular file, right? We're not adding W because I don't want, let's say, show inventories output to replace show platforms. I want to have show platforms output. Underneath, I want to have show inventory and show version, right? So for that, I'm using append, which means add to the end of the file or whatever it is, right? So I'm going to use write statement to write output there, right? That's it. But in order to make it more human readable and clear, because in this particular case, I will just have output without like knowing which show command it was, just to make it more human readable and easy to understand, I'm going to add some other things. I'm going to add command itself as a string so that I know which command has been sent. And I can add a colon, maybe a colon, a semicolon, no, colon, just to just to be able to distinguish and easily understand output information. And I will add more brackets at the end so that it does not collide with the output data. So it looks nice and, like just precise. And then I'm just going to add my except block in case if I face some authentication or timeout exceptions. I want my script to continue anyways because maybe other devices. So maybe let's say these particular commands are not supported by a certain platform. In this particular case, I would just say like print, let's say unknown command, right? I don't know. The router doesn't understand what kind of command I'm trying to type in. And I want this particular command to be just skipped, and I want my list to proceed sending those elements. And so that's why I'm just going to say continue to be able to continue for loop functioning, right? And that's pretty much it. And as you can see, this is a very little script containing, which contains just roughly 20 lines of code, right? And this particular script will allow me to send multiple shell commands, right? I could have imported this particular txt file with my shell commands into this file and into this Python file and just issue all of them, but because there are a lot of commands and just for the sake of simplicity and brevity, I'm not going to do it. So we're just going to use just 3 commands, and let's run our script and let's see what's going to happen. I'm running my script. I will be prompted to indicate IP address dynamically, so I will just choose one of my devices, active functioning devices, and I will press enter. Now I can see that I have sent 3 commands, show platform, inventory version, consequentially and successfully. Now all we have to do is just check if we have our new output txt file in our folder and if that txt file contains the data we need, right? So my output txt file is right here. It's in the same folder with my Python script. I'm just going to open it, and yeah, it works. So, and it's very clear because we have a show platform command with colon indicating its output underneath, and the same logic goes for the second element. And I have a lot of output here because it's a real device with a lot of SFP modules attached to it and stuff like that. And lastly, we have show version commands output, right? So I will tell you one more thing which you should note, and this is basically something called Readtimeout. Maybe in your device, the output of some show command could be very long, and Netmiko has to wait until it reaches the end of this data, and for that it needs some time. We have to manually here in the send command section, we have to manually add one option saying read timeout, and you can add some value in seconds. So it's in seconds. 10 seconds is usually enough for most of commands. However, if you have, again, like huge output, you might want to make it 50 or 90 depending on your output, right? It's just the amount of information. So that was pretty much it. As you can see, the script is extremely easy to implement, to write, and to use. You can add a lot of commands to this list. You can edit this list as you wish based on your needs and requirements, and you can basically save a lot of time and energy and basically improve efficiency and troubleshoot easily any issue. So thank you for watching. That's pretty much it. If you have any additions, if you have any questions, please comment below. I would love to help and support you in any way. Thanks.